Greetings. Even if you've seen Mel Gibson's picture, The Passion of the Christ, there's a lot more to the narrative than meets the eye. Many set members still discuss the bizarre incidents and unforeseen difficulties that occurred during the production of this grueling film. Even more shocking than the film's gloomy tone and graphic portrayals of Jesus' last hours may have been what transpired behind the scenes. With the cast and crew dealing with mysterious mishaps and uncanny coincidences, some people think the project was cursed. Let's explore these terrifying scenes and learn what transpired while this impactful film was being made. Mel Gibson was committed to making a movie that authentically depicted Jesus' agony and sacrifice. He aimed to give spectators the impression that they were in Jerusalem in the 1st century. In order to do this, he created sets that were so lifelike that you felt as if you were really in the center of the old city and shot in Hebrew, Latin, and Aramaic. The burden of this vision fell on Jim Caviezel, who portrayed Jesus. He had to carry a genuine hefty cross in one especially agonizing moment, and his shoulder gave out as he passed out from weariness. His scream of anguish was caught on camera as an instance of genuine, unadulterated misery, since the pain he was experiencing wasn't fake. However, it didn't stop there. Caviezel was unintentionally hit with a whip during another dramatic scene, leaving her with permanent scars that serve as a reminder of the harsh reality depicted in the movie. When Caviezel was hit by lightning on sight, it was one of the most strange events. Many people who saw it thought it was a divine sign. Strange things continued to happen with Caviezel, however. There were also disturbing moments for the technical personnel. Some crew members recounted seeing an unexplained presence on the site, while others claimed instances in which equipment or cameras malfunctioned without warning, suggesting that unseen forces were interfering with the shooting. Rather than experiencing fear, the actors and crew found power in these odd events. They started to feel like they were a part of something far bigger than filmmaking. Gibson refused to back down in the face of the film's criticism, particularly its graphic violence and charges of anti-Semitism. At all costs, he was committed to presenting the account of Jesus' last hours as truthfully as possible. Gibson chose to finance the movie himself, investing $30 million of his own funds in the production after big studios rejected it, seeing it as too risky. Jim Caviezel remained steadfast while being well aware of the dangers to his career. "I think we have to do it, even if it costs us everything," Caviezel said firmly in response to Gibson's warning about the blowback. Caviezel then gave the part her all, even though she was aware of the sacrifices required. The Passion of the Christ was always more than a film. It was a profoundly religious, selfless, and devoted experience. Physically and psychologically, every day on set was a battle, but the actors and crew persevered because they had a mission beyond the movie. Every scene had a purpose, and as the movie went on, it became evident that some of the odd happenings weren't just coincidences. The film's production was a strong voyage that many participants felt was a part of something much greater than themselves. Everybody has times in life when they doubt their faith and strength. We often search for something greater than ourselves to give our lives purpose and direction at these periods. The Passion of Christ's creation was a direct result of this quest for meaning. It seemed as if an invisible force was directing the actors and crew to a point where every scene seemed more like a spiritual calling than just a scene from a film. What if everything changed one day? The calm morning weather suddenly gave way to a violent storm as the crew entered the forest. There was a moment of shock and terror as lightning hit the earth a short distance from the workers. However, many saw this as a spiritual sign, a reminder of the greater purpose of which they were all a part, one that extended beyond the movie they were making, rather than a terrible portent. Some of the players started to have an unexplainable connection with their parts, as if they were living something holy rather than just performing. Playing Pilate's wife, Claudia Gerini spoke about how she experienced disturbing nightmares about Jesus' life that weren't part of the screenplay. She saw instances of great sacrifice and faith in these dreams, which made her seriously consider her own views. Gerini said that her view of spirituality had changed forever as a result of working on the movie, in ways she hadn't anticipated when she first joined the project. There was no denying the cast's physical toll. In a dramatic sequence, Hristo Shopov, who played Pontius Pilate, injured his wrist by slamming his hand down on a table. He endured the agony because he thought the message they were trying to get across was more important than his own misery. Everyone who worked on the project, from the lead performers to the technicians, shared this commitment. They were engaged in a spiritual journey that went beyond the process of creating a movie. They were not just working on a movie. The actors and crew became closer as they overcame an obstacle after another. The filmmaker, Mel Gibson, was well aware of the challenges, but he also appreciated the profound dedication that each individual gave to the endeavor. For a lot of people, conquering these challenges meant they were a part of something far greater than themselves. They began to feel that they were creating something holy, something with significance that extended far beyond the screen, and that every setback just served to fortify their determination. One day, the team encountered an unforeseen issue just before recording a pivotal scene. The lighting apparatus failed to function. Nothing appeared to help, despite many efforts to resolve the problem. Some crew members started praying on the spur of the moment out of despair. The lights flickered back on after some time. There were crew members who couldn't shake the feeling that something beyond their control had stepped in. It wasn't the only odd thing that happened while they were shooting. In a dramatic moment when she had to carry Jesus' corpse, Maya Morgenstern, who portrayed Mary, reached her breaking point. The sentimental, she was psychologically and physically exhausted by the weight of the event, but it also made her more relatable to the role she was playing and demonstrated the great amount of effort she put into it. Mel Gibson's well-known perfectionism sometimes caused conflict on set, but his actions often demonstrated his genuine concern for all parties. There was one instance when a number of extras were fighting to remain warm due to the extreme weather. Gibson halted production right after and gave the team instructions to provide blankets and hot tea. Many saw this as more than simply a way to postpone the production. It was an obvious indication of Gibson's sincere care for the welfare of those he was collaborating with. Throughout development, strange and unpleasant things were happening. Some extras reported seeing a mystery person dressed in vibrant clothing during a crowd scene. This person didn't seem to be from the cast or crew. The identity of the individual remained a mystery, despite several efforts to identify him. The feeling that there was something unique and perhaps holy about the filmmaking process only became stronger after this unsettling episode and others that happened throughout the shoot. The Passion of the Christ's influence extended much beyond the usual responses to a film when it was eventually shown in cinemas. There was a great deal of discussion about the movie in both religious and secular circles. There was disagreement about the vivid depiction of Jesus' suffering, particularly among church officials. Certain were worried that certain scenes would be misunderstood, especially by Christian organizations that lean more conservative. However, other people thought the movie did a better job than any other in capturing the unvarnished, unadulterated reality of Christ's sacrifice. Regardless of the film's reception, it undoubtedly sparked a debate that altered the way that representation, religion, and film were discussed in society. The responses to the movie didn't alter Jim Caviezel's perspective as the actor who played Jesus. Even though his portrayal received a lot of attention, he was more focused on the role's deeper meaning than the recognition. Caviezel discussed in interviews after the movie's premiere that he had come to terms with the notion that his depiction of Jesus will define his career more than any accolades or honors. For him, the most important thing was the chance to contribute to something much greater than any individual achievement. In several places, the film's release was greeted with controversy and criticism, as authorities opted to remove a number of sequences that were judged too gruesome and upsetting for viewers. The film managed to reach audiences worldwide in spite of these modifications. Many individuals were able to discover other ways to view the movie in regions like the Middle East and Asia, where discussions about religion and spirituality were seldom allowed. Important conversations on subjects that were often seen as taboo or difficult in these areas were therefore triggered. Despite all of the criticism, Mel Gibson was adamant on realizing his vision. "I wanted to tell the story of Jesus in a powerfully raw way so that everyone could feel the weight of sacrifice," he said during a news conference in Rome. Although Gibson's treatment of the Passion of the Christ did not win over all reviewers, the movie struck a chord with a sizable audience, including individuals whom religious films did not usually appeal to. It attracted visitors from all walks of life and became a topic of discussion. The movie made a huge difference in terms of box office performance. With a $30 million budget that Gibson paid for all by himself, the production was a huge financial success, earning close to $600 million globally. In addition to setting a new benchmark for religious films, this surprising financial success gave Gibson and his team the money they needed to start additional faith-based endeavors, such as charitable endeavors. The film's journey, both during and after production, proved to be just as important and impactful as the material, making a lasting impression on the film industry and culture. Gibson was determined to make the movie historically and culturally realistic from the beginning. His intention was to write a story that was as true to the customs of the first century as possible. In order to do this, the production team searched manuscripts, mosaics, and ancient writings with the assistance of religious counselors and historical specialists. The film's utilization of ancient languages, including Hebrew, Latin, and Aramaic, was one of its most notable aspects. To guarantee they could speak these languages naturally, the actors spent weeks preparing with experts. Despite the fact that it made shooting more difficult, Gibson thought that employing the original languages would foster a stronger connection to the historical events portrayed. The crew also took great care to recreate the movie's environment. A very lifelike recreation of ancient Jerusalem was built in the cobblestone alleyways of Matera, Italy. Many of the actors subsequently spoke about how the sets gave the whole event an air of realism and made them feel as if they had been transported back in time. The script also underwent a number of revisions throughout production. Religious counselors advised Gibson to adhere to the canonical Gospels in order to prevent any misunderstandings or misinterpretations, even if at first he had thought of inserting apocryphal writings. The team struggled to strike a balance between the demands of filming and the objective of biblical truth. The picture differs from conventional religious films in a few artistic choices. As an illustration, Satan was purposefully portrayed as a gender-neutral, somewhat androgynous figure. It was a daring decision to hire Rosalinda Celentano in this part, and the actress spoke about how she psychologically prepared to portray the character's dual nature, sexy but eerie. From the performers to the setting, every element of the movie was thoughtfully designed to support Gibson's unique creative vision. The film's legacy got stronger over time after its premiere. Long after its first release, the Passion of the Christ's influence persisted, inspiring new film-related initiatives such as restoration and re-release plans. This included deleted sequences that provided further insight into the production process, as well as interviews with the performers about their life-changing experiences. The movie's influence on the revival of Christian cinema may have been its greatest enduring impact. Gibson's ability to give the movie a strong emotional resonance and genuineness inspired filmmakers all over the globe to take biblical and spiritual tales more seriously. This change has prompted spiritual groups to accept the use of movies as a teaching and contemplative tool, showing them at conferences and seminars to promote spiritual development and contemplation. In addition to the film's cultural and cinematic impact, Gibson and other crew members started humanitarian initiatives after the movie's popularity. A percentage of the movie's profits went toward constructing hospitals and schools in underdeveloped regions, especially in nations with long-term poverty. These altruistic endeavors complemented the film's main themes of empathy, selflessness, and sacrifice, transforming its teachings into significant real-world action. I really appreciate you coming along with me while we created The Passion of the Christ. It's amazing to consider how fervent devotion, sacrifice, and faith influenced not just the movie but also the lives of all those involved. Don't forget to press the subscribe button if you liked this in-depth look, and please share your opinions in the comments section below. What aspect of this tale most caught your attention? Your comments are much appreciated. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the future video.